Right, this is my 9 week out recap on how all my primary sessions moved, and well, not my primary sessions, I guess, how all my sessions moved and felt, and update on my body weight throughout the week and my thoughts before and after each of my sessions, and then I'll play all the clips as well, and then after that I'll talk about what's happening in my 8 weeks out and how I'm sort of feeling leading up to my comp on the 30th of November. It might be the 31st. It's that Sunday in November, the last Sunday of November. So, starting off the week, my first proper session was Wednesday, because I always do my lighter squat day on a Monday and my tempo bench, and they always feel nice. It's sort of like an easier session after the heavy bits in the week, and then just building on my technique and making that sort of crispy so I don't have to think about it too much going into my heavier sessions. It's sort of a session where I can sort of rebuild, I guess, and it's more managing fatigue and concentrating on technique. But first session was my rep squat day, where I had 220 kilos for reps, 220 kilos for reps. And this whole week was more of a mental battle, or as much of a mental battle as it was a strength battle, because I knew I wanted to PR across the board in regards to reps on my rep days. So that, from a strength standpoint, improvement. But mentally, it was hard because I knew I needed to push myself a lot more and sort of not give in when it starts getting difficult. So 220 kilos for squat. Last block, that was like, my best is 6. I never go above 6 really, but in my last block there was times where I did it for 4s and I just said rack, because it just wasn't feeling right. Like, it wasn't feeling quick, so I'd rack it, and it started to get a bit hard. I'd rack it. So before I did the set, I said to Charlie, who owns the gym, who was doing the arm, I was like, I might just need a little bit of a motivational push. Just let me know I've still got it. Like a, come on, you've got this. So just keep me in the game. And that really helped. So I'll play the clip now. So yeah, I got 8, which is great. Really happy with that, because mentally it felt heavy after 3 or 4, but I knew I could do it. I knew I could get 8. I planned to get 8. It was just mentally getting over that hurdle of, right, this is heavy. It always feels heavy, but I can grind these out if I want it. It's there if I want it, and that was the fundamentals of this week, and probably the main thing over the whole next 8 weeks. I know I've got the strength there, it's just if I want it or not. And it was hard. Like, the in hindsight, looking back at the reps, it's like, okay, good set, good solid set. But that gave me a lot of confidence, and has built my confidence going into next week. So technique felt great. The quad now feels like is never an issue, and that's all behind me. And I'm not sort of shying away from giving it speed into the hole. And so I was really happy with that, getting it for 8 and just getting over that mental hurdle of this is hard, but I can do it. I can do it. So that then went into Wednesday's bench, where I had 125, so 125 kilos reps. And that's always the point where like my reps start to fall off, I think, in my mind anyway. Sometimes I don't, but sometimes I do. Like, I'd go from getting like 7 or 8 on 120, and then it's like 5. So just a quicker decrease than I anticipated it would be. With like 125, 127, it's like 5. I was like, okay, I'm shooting big. Like, I want more. I want more to set me up for why I planned to get more at the end. I need this sort of mental win as much of a strength win. So this was my 125 for reps. And yeah, so I got 7, and I was really like, the 7th one moved a lot better than I anticipated it to be. I thought it was going to be a hard 7. I knew I wanted 7 in my mind. I thought it was going to be a hard 7, and I think the reason it wasn't a hard 7 is because a few of the reps were a bit more touch and go than I normally like, and I probably want to nip that in the bud now going into next week. So even though it looked like a great, like, the last rep looked easy, and I knew I had it after the 6th, so I did pause it, give it a proper pause on the last rep. But if I want to get my bench income, I've got to lift to standard. And so I have 130 programmed for this week, and the rep, I still want to get a rep PR. Could I try and match the 7? Yes. Would I much prefer going for 6 and pausing them all? Maybe. Or third option, go for 7 and just pause it, because it was a mental thing of getting past the 5th rep and still going through, and then 6th, and then getting the 7th. So now I know I can do it. I just need to perform to standard and have the confidence in myself on bench, because even with bench, it feels heavy in my hands, and I've got to push that sort of feeling to the side of, oh, this feels heavy, to I know I can do this. The work that I've done now, not just this last couple of weeks, but prior to that in every other block, I know I can do it. Just do it, and have that confidence, and coming down with speed, pausing on the chest, and then just lifting with intent on the way up, just moving everything with intent. So I was still happy with the rep PR. Need to work on the pause, which will show up again later in the week. So then Friday was my singles on squat and deadlift. And going into this, yet again, after the squats on Wednesday and all the accessories I do on that session, legs were feeling a bit beat up. Not too beat up as last week, but I was definitely feeling it. I was like, okay, this is going to be good. Like, if I can do it on my squat and deadlift single day, I could do it in comp, because the fatigue I'm sort of carrying from that Wednesday and Thursday in regards to those sessions, and also with the deadlift single, it's doing it right after that squat single. If I can do it on those days, I can do it in comp, because I'm carrying that much fatigue doing it. And so these were I had two, before I show the clip, I had 240 for a squat single, 260 for a deadlift single. And I was more worried about the deadlift single than the squat single, because I know it's like it's 12 kg off my 1 rep max. Well, at the moment, my 1 rep max, which is 272. So that was in the back of my mind throughout warming up for squats. But I will play the clips now. So yeah, they moved great. Squat moved quick. It felt great. Moved quick. Don't want to be any higher, I think. Depth was fine. I was really happy with locking my knees out at the top. Depth was fine, but can't be any higher. It was depth, but it wasn't convincing that depth. It wasn't something which you could look at from far away and be like, oh, that was definitely depth. It was one of those where, okay, it was depth, but you had to be watching it. So going into my single this week, it's going to be, yeah, again, I know I can do it, just sink it, just lift standard. And the knees are a non-issue now. I've sort of worked out how I'm going to, hopefully they're going to be a non-issue now. It's still something that I have to cue in my mind. But one sec. There we go. Now it's just got to be that confidence of sinking it and knowing I can stand up. So this week I've got a 250 single. I've done 250 multiple times. I want it to move quick, but I need it to be good. And the deadlift, this deadlift session is always harder than my Sunday deadlift session. Just carrying that fatigue, and it always takes a second to get off like a millisecond to get off the floor, longer than on a Sunday. And that second makes me think, oh God, is it there? But it moved nice. Once it came off the floor, like that time it took to get off the floor felt like an eternity. But once it came off the floor, it was like, well, I was like, sick. So that's why when I put the belt down, I was like, that wasn't actually too bad. That wasn't too bad. It's my quickest session of the week out of all my training sessions, but my heaviest. Because I just do my squat and deadlift that day, nothing else. And to warm up for deadlifts, I just go plate, 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 plate. I think that's the right amount of plates. It's done within like half an hour, 20 minutes. maybe not half an hour, more 20 minutes. Because I would have already stretched before squatting and all warmed up. So it's just bang, 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 done. And so yeah, that was good. And then it was good sessions at home. And now my deadlift single for next week is 265, which will be like, okay, I can do this, just keep lifting with intent, make it move nice. And it's sort of like where the work should be starting now. And that goes into Saturday with my bench single, and then I had my secondary bench after the single. But I had 150. I knew it was going to be a fight. Going into it, and I knew I had to give it all my thought. Because 2 weeks ago, 147 was RP10. So now it's like 150. It was just in my mind of don't miss. That's what my deadlift, that's all I think about on my deadlift and bench singles are do anything but miss. Done. And so I had 150 on bench, and this is how it went. So yeah, I didn't miss, and it moved nice, but the pause, again, shocking, absolutely shocking, in my mind anyway. So might be an overshoot, but the plan was to go like 2.5 kilos every week. But that one needs redoing. It needs redoing and make it look more polished. But now redoing it next week, I'm like, okay, I've done this last week. I've got the strength for this. Just make it look nice. So that was a mental win again. Just mentally, okay, you can do this. Just do it right. Just do it right. And so I'm still winning. Still flying high. As we go on to the last session of the week, Sunday, rep day on deadlift. I had 240 programmed, and this was mentally difficult because previously to this, it's been 5s. My best was 5 with 242 for 5. I want 7. Nothing less. I know 6 would be a PR, but I want 7. And with from 230 to 240, the plates. So I use a 5 kilo bump plate with 230, and that's mentally easy because it's like big and it feels quite light because it's so big and it's quite flimsy. So I'm like, okay, chuck this on the end, sound. But then going to 240, it's using a proper like metal iron, steel. I don't know why it is, but it's using a proper 10 kilo plate that feels like 10 kilo. So I'm like, okay, when I put these on the end, I'll notice it, but technically it's still the same jump. It's only a 5 kilo jump, but in my head it feels a lot more because of the plate. And so that was something I had to get over. And so this was how the set went. And yeah, I'd like to say I got 7. I rushed the last one on at the bottom. I rushed it off the floor. So my starting position was off. So my lockout. In the moment, I was just stuck. I was stuck a few millimeters from lockout. I was like, I have no idea what. Like in hindsight, I'm like, maybe I could have just leant back. But in the moment, I was like, where can I go? I was thinking too much about my glutes and not my shoulders. I was like, I'm stuck. But I was really happy with that. And that mental win again of getting more and knowing I can do it. And it felt heavy after the fourth. After the fourth rep, I was like, I'm done. I want to put this down, call it a day. But I knew I had to be like, okay, I can do this. The work I've done last week, the week before that, shows I can do this. So just do it. Just do it. Just pull. Lift with intent. And I shaved my calluses off so my skin didn't tear. And I was like, okay, sick, it worked. But it kills to grab the bar. My hands were screaming at me, and now, like, you can't see, but I've bruised all my hands. And I'm just like, for God's sake. So the trade-off was, I didn't remember that if I didn't have any calluses, it was hurt. So now my skin don't tear, but it hurts. But when you're lifting at that sort of RPE, everything goes off. Everything's like white noise. It doesn't care what music's playing. It doesn't care about how my hands feel. All I'm thinking about is stand up. Just stand up. And so, yeah. I also did some pauses. Well, I've changed my pause. Like after my rep stuff. Well, my max rep set, top set. I did some pauses with 210. I used to do my pauses coming just off the floor, which I thought was great because like holding that start position a little bit more. But now I've changed pausing. Like the last few weeks, I've changed to pausing at my knee because that's the point where the bar's in the hardest position because it's the furthest away from your center of mass because you're right over the top of your knee and you want it to be as close to your hips as possible. So it's the hardest bit of the movement. And they've been going well. And I just play that now. So yeah, just a little thing I did after, and I filmed just to show you what else, something else I've changed. But as a week, big win. This was the body weight throughout the week, so still sort of sitting mainly between 75 kilo and 75.5 in that sort of range. I think it might have been more towards the 75.5 this week, but still good. I ideally wanted to be more 76 at this point, but everything's moving nice. I do think I need to get to that 76 mark this week to sort of help me make the lift smoother for this week. Well, going into next week. Because like this morning, I weighed 75.2. I'm like, great. Like I'm like 0.2 kilo over the weight class, which is what, literally nothing. So I was like, okay, I need to get a little bit more, feeling a little bit like bloated. I'm like a bloated 75.5. So weight wise is cool. And yeah, going into next week's obviously going to be harder. Less in regards to reps. I touched on what sort of weights I'm aiming for next week. But as a whole, fantastic week. And I just need to, like this week, tick the boxes. This week I ticked all the boxes. And it was good. If I could just tick the boxes for what I've planned for every session in the next 8 weeks, I could put together something nice. But yeah, that is everything, I think, for this week. If you want to see the train session lifts sooner than every Tuesday, go pop me a follow on Instagram, because I post them the day of I do them. And then if you're looking for any one-to-one coaching, my website's linked into the description, where I do a personalized training plan. We catch up every single week over a call to discuss how the week went going into the next week, and then also have that thing where you can message or call me anytime within reason. Maybe not like after 10 o'clock or before 5 o'clock in the morning, but just give me a message or a bell with any concerns or any questions, and I can help you out as soon as possible. Or if you're looking for a set training plan to follow, I'm doing 8-week training plans for 3 sessions a week, 4 sessions a week, 5 sessions a week, and 6, depending on how many times a week you train. And they're also on the website as well. So yeah, a good week. And I have squat tomorrow, so that's all I'm thinking about. And I will let you know how everything goes next week in my week 8 week out recap. Sick one.